Is this microphone good? Are we solid?
You sound great. I don't know how I sound to you, but I know that we both sound good on my recorder.
Okay, you sound good over here. Perfect.
Okay. I do share screen and then share computer sound. Yes.
Ooh.
And then we're gonna
I'm
go.
having trouble connecting to the internet.
Computer, stop it.
Take a look at the help section in your Alexa app.
Minimize that.
Aw, is that your dog?
Yeah, that's Momo. She's
How
She's
cute.
actually right over there too in the room. That was back at our old place in Cambridge.
Oh,
Here we go. Not store. See all my music as well.
oh, look at that.
And here we go. All right, welcome to the show. That's the intro music that I usually cut in over, over the front of the episode. And I've been trying to figure out how to play it for people.
Hell yeah.
That's for you too.
It was great. You know what? I liked it a lot.
Have you been doing? Do you have a podcast?
I have.
I'm pretty sure everybody does right now. We all got it in the mail.
Yeah. Everyone. Now the key is being consistent with it. That's what I'm failing to do.
See, yeah, this has made me be more consistent with it than I ever was. It was a struggle to record and put one out once a week before we were home all the time, and now I've got it backlogged. I'm killing it.
Wow, hell yeah. Love to hear it. I'm glad someone's successful at it because I can't, even with quarantine, I'm like, I don't want to do it.
I was unsure at first, but then I was able to get better recording stuff and have it like a home thing set up. And now I feel comfortable. Right at the beginning, I was like, well, there goes my podcast. Can't do that anymore. Nobody's going to want to go sit in a small room. But yeah, enough speaking about podcasts. Welcome to Live and Bike in LA. Please give it up for Miss Kelly Ryan, everybody who's listening now. And speaking of listeners, I just found out we have 3 in Malaysia. So mahalo to them. Yeah.
Wow. Well, hello, Malaysia.
I have no idea why. I hope they're learning English. I hope that's why.
Oh, wow. I honestly, is Malaysia's obviously in Asia.
Oh, great game. Where's Malaysia, Kelly?
Where's Malaysia? You know what? It's over there. Can't say it's not.
If you had to guess what other countries, because my aunt's actually Malaysian.
Really?
Weird. Yeah, because I have
You don't think it's your aunt, right?
No. She lives in Seattle, and we don't speak to that side of the family.
Oh. But you do know she's Malaysian.
I know she's Malaysian. I've met her once. And maybe it's her extended family. They found my last name because they, know. I don't know. But either way, glad to have them. And we have one British person, too. So welcome aboard. And some Irish.
Irish?
Yeah, we got Ireland, too.
Oh, I love Irish men. Oh,
yeah?
Do you know if they're hot Irish men that are listening? Do we get that part of the demographic, or what are we?
Let's say it's Conor McGregor and his brothers.
Oh, wow. Then I don't know if I want to be in that room because I could get hit.
Are you Irish? Ryan, that's right.
I am. We used to be O'Ryan. Drop the O. Don't know the scandal there, assuming there was one. Or maybe it was just, hey, we don't need it. I don't know.
It was probably, just to like try and blend a little bit.
Yeah.
Guys are like, we already have red hair. We gotta do something here to look less Irish. Mine, because Handren is my mom's maiden name. and that was dropped from Handerhan, and it's Scottish when they came over here.
Oh.
They were like Handerhan. They're like, that's a little too many. Let's cut that down.
Let's tone it down a little bit.
Mm.
That's funny. You know, I knew a girl. So listen to this. This is crazy. Real quick. I'll tell this really quickly.
I know as much time as you want. This is the whole point of this.
Okay, fair enough. So I had a 3rd grade teacher named Mrs. Dickinson. Her maiden name was Ashby.
Ooh.
So she named her daughter Ashby, but then she got divorced and moved her daughter's last name back to her maiden name. So this bitch's name is now Ashby, okay? Which, incredible, number one. But
this is the teacher's daughter.
This is the teacher's daughter.
Okay.
So fast forward a little bit to after this Ashby drama, and actually Ashby got arrested because she accidentally killed her baby in a bathtub. Ashby the third. Ashby cubed. Mm-hmm. She died in the bathtub because her mom was coked out, and then my 3rd grade teacher got caught hiding evidence.
Ooh, was the evidence the baby?
That you wouldn't believe how big of a role that played.
I mean, you look at the whole scene and you're like, either we like wipe this all down or we just get rid of this baby and pull the drain plug. There we go. That's tough.
I don't really, it was crazy. And I remember none of them, the daughter looked like she would be a part of a crime for sure. But Mrs. Dickinson, whoa, that one caught me totally off guard.
Yeah, that's always weird when it's a teacher too. And then you think about like everything they taught you and you're like, what? How the fuck did they know? Like, look how they did with the one they had.
Yep.
They're better with 30 at a time. Like,
yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's why I always subscribe to barren women make the best teachers. Okay, they will put in the time and devotion to those kids that they never got to have. I had a couple of teachers that never had kids, never married, and they were some of the most thoughtful and like really enjoyed teaching, being there and stuff.
Yeah. You know, I know some people, it's interesting because I know some people who are teachers and they're not really that involved in the kid's life. I know this one girl who, I mean, has a private Instagram so she can post just for her kids. Bizarre, right?
Just for the class or whatever?
Yes. But it's public, but it's like, it's too much, too far.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I've known teachers on both sides. That's the thing. I've known teachers that are very involved. I was friends with a teacher in high school, and he was a cool guy, and he was, I will admit, a bit odd when you look at him from the outside, but then you kind of get to know him, and you realize, one, he didn't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And he wasn't, now looking back at it, like he was probably my age when, like maybe 35 when he was teaching, in high school. And I look now and I go, if I was a teacher and there was like 5 or 6 students that wanted to hang out in somebody's room and they were neat kids and stuff, like I would just let them, use my room so they could hang out, and you'd be somewhat friendly with probably some cool kids and stuff. But there is like a weird line that has to be drawn and stuff, and because some of them try and fuck them.
Yeah, well, I think what's also different is it's like, because I know a lot of teachers in high school where it was like, oh yeah, you guys could come hang out in my, classroom. It's when you do the weird one-on-one, that type of shit. You got to always keep it going like a party, almost. Like, we're all cool, no secrets, none of that shit.
He definitely, I think it was right after we graduated, because he was also at one of the teacher liaisons for student council. And I was never on student council, but I went to every single meeting. And I ran one time and I lost, and I was so fucking pissed that I lost, because I lost to a comedic speech. That's what fucking pissed me. And now I'm a stand-up. And I was so pissed at the time because I was like, the kid doesn't fucking care.
Wait, this is insane. When did this happen to you?
It was going into the senior year of high school. So it was in junior year, they had elections for senior, student council.
Yeah. Well, the reason that we have a parallel here,
Okay.
I lost my 8th grade election to a guy who dressed up as a leprechaun and did a funny speech.
Oh.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Because even if very rarely do I take things seriously, and I took this seriously, and it didn't pay off.
I didn't take any of school seriously, and I took student council very seriously, and I was like a student liaison by the end. They felt bad that I lost because I've been going to every meeting since. Because the reason why I went is I started dating when I was a freshman somebody who was on student council. And then she was like, you can just go to student council meetings even if you're not on it. And then I started going, and I was like, oh, I can even chime in and like fucking sway the votes and shit and convince people to do different things. Yeah, because it's all they have to. If you're a student, they have to hear you out. Nobody else goes. So it'd be just like me, the council members, and the couple teachers that are the liaison. And then we got like sweet shit. We got open campus from our student council pushing for it with the school. And we got an overnight senior trip for the first time in like 10 years. And then we streaked on that senior trip, and they canceled those again. But we got to go. Yeah. But yeah, when I realized that, and then so I ran my junior year, lost, and they felt bad, and they kind of gave me like an honorary position my senior year on student council.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I know that pain, and I know it well.
I'm
I don't know
clearly over it.
I don't know the pain of going every week or whatever to their meetings.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have kept going if it wasn't for the fact that, because I ended up breaking up with that girl, but she was a senior.
Whoa,
I was dating seniors as freshmen.
Really?
Oh yeah. I think it was because my brother was cool, and he graduated and left, or actually he dropped out of school, even cooler. And then I came in freshman year, and there was definitely a couple girls, I think, that had crushes on my brother and were like, he'll do, we'll take him. We look very similar.
Were you like a cool freshman? Like, did you smoke weed, all that shit?
Yeah, I did that. I skateboarded, soccer player, skier. That was the thing. I wasn't as cool as people thought, but I had a mystique because I competed in skiing outside of school in like freestyle skiing. And so I would leave during the winters a lot of the times to go to like competitions and shit. And just nobody knew kind of what I was doing or where I was going. So it kind of had this like, I don't know, he's out there doing shit. But yeah, like the reality. I mean, it was super fun. I liked doing it, but I wasn't like a cool guy on the mountain. So, but they thought I was.
Gotcha. Yeah. Wait, do you still ski?
I went this year. I went and did Tahoe, the improv there, and skied for the first time in a few years. But I did it. I competed in skiing until I was 20, and then coached skiing until I was 27. And so I was doing that like all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I quit because of comedy to move out of Maine and move down to Boston. I started doing stand-up, and I kind of like got to a point where it was like, either I keep making my life so I can ski like 100 days a year, or I just got to fucking walk away for a while.
Huh. Have you ever... my legs are very short, and my arms are extremely long. And so on the long skis, it was difficult because the like lower half of my body didn't match up with the length of the skis.
Yeah.
So I did snowblading.
Snowblading, yeah.
Yeah, and that was, the idea was, it was like, oh, if you do these, it'll be easier for you to do tricks, but I didn't do any tricks. I just went right down the hill.
This was one time or all the time you would ride?
All the time. This is
really?
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Connecticut.
No shit. You're a New Englander
Yeah.
too. I don't know if
Yeah.
we had talked about this before. Maybe we have.
I think I knew that you were from Maine because you
I
and
fucking talk about
Brian
it all the time.
have that in common, right?
That who?
You and Brian Vokey are both from Maine?
Yeah. Although
Right.
he's been, yeah, he was in Westbrook for a while, but he's had a
Gotcha.
few different places he grew up in. He was like Maine and Georgia maybe, or Alabama
Yeah,
too,
I think
or something.
something like that. Yeah.
He's got a little southern trash to him.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's Maine trash too. So yeah, what part of Connecticut then?
I was in like Fairfield County, so like the quick mountain we'd go to was Southington.
Okay.
Which
That's
was
one of the little Connecticut ones.
So tiny. Yeah, it had like literally one hill and then it had tubing.
Yeah.
Which ruled. I love a sport where you can lay down.
And you know, the thing is, when you're a kid too and you're really resilient, it's super fun. I've seen tubing videos of adults. You don't realize, like, once you get to a certain size that you're like, you can't just launch your body at like a laid down position into the air and end up okay.
I know.
Kids are just like, yeah, I bounced off my head and I was fine. And an adult is like, that ends you.
Yeah, I know. It was, well, I went, even the last time I went tubing like that, it was like, I was like 12 or 13, but I went tubing on the back of a boat in college.
Oh, yeah.
And I refused to let go. And when I had so many bruises from just like the weight, like, so, you know, when like you're drunk and stubborn and you're like, I could survive anything. Like
and then
that.
The next day,
you're like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was.
Did right here really fucking hurt from?
Oh yeah, and
gripping.
I don't know why I thought I had the muscle. I don't know what I was. Too much beer, and I was like, I can stay on this thing for the rest of my life.
Yeah, well, and there's also a thing of watching children do something and going like, oh, goddamn adult, I can do this.
Yeah, I can do
it. Yeah, there are certain things now that I know I could be in a situation to attempt to try, but I think to myself, like, maybe you can, but if you can't, it's really not worth it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I lived in a town where there were so many freak accidents that I am convinced I can't enjoy anything normally.
Oh, you're going to love the later part of the show. I have a video for you. What is the best, because I have a couple of freak fucking accident stories from kids I knew that had both ended in death. Yeah. But is there one that sticks in your mind? Growing up?
There is one. So this guy, he was one of those kids that like he wasn't totally mentally disabled, but he was like walking the line, you know,
like a Dan Donahue.
Yeah, exactly. No, he was a little more off his rocker than Dan Donahue, but he like. Okay, so actually this story is way more crazy than I remembered just now. Okay, so in the third grade, I was wearing a mask that
you guys are same class?
Same class. And it was a Halloween parade that we like did throughout the school. And I was wearing a mask and this kid came over, Robert Spanuski, God bless, came over, pinched my mask nose and said something like, you look so stupid or something. And for the whole Halloween parade, I was crying behind my mask, which is really funny because the mask was like this goofy smiling thing. And behind it, I'm just like sobbing. So I went home that day.
But also like, oh, and you were a comedian now. That doesn't make sense at all.
I know. And I was so upset and I was like, I hate this guy. He's awful, whatever, right? So fast forward to senior year of high school, we get this call that he was on an ATV in the snow and a car hit him in the blizzard and he flew off and died on impact.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it was like this old man who was driving in the blizzard, didn't see him at all, whatever, right? So that night, I'm like freaking, obviously, not many people have died in my class. So like this was really crazy. And that night I'm going through my closet and I pull out a class photo from the 3rd grade. This is the night that he died. I pull out this photo and I have scratched out his face.
Who'd you scratch out next?
I was convinced. I was like, I killed him. I was terrified. And so I did this whole thing. I wasn't even friends with the guy, but I did this whole thing where I like helped make like memorial things for him because
you felt guilty?
Horrible.
I would be like, I just fucking call my shots. I don't know what to tell you.
I know, it was crazy.
And one is a snowmobile accident in 7th grade. Kid ahead of us in 8th grade, a snowmobile accident and died. But then later on comes out, this is a little weird, but there was this dude's house that used to let us play paintball at his house because he had this giant property and it was an old farm and it had all these trails and stuff through it. And so it was an awesome place to go play paintball. He was an old guy. Turns out years later, he was probably a pedophile. Yeah, but I never went in his house or anything. He always seemed like kind of a weird guy, but just drive up on the farm and meet your friends there and go play on the property and stuff. You just like, hopefully I don't, run into him on the trail or something weird like that. Mm-hmm. But the kid that died in the snowmobile accident was at that guy's house. That's where he died. That's what's weird. It's like a guy turns out to be a pedophile, and he was, because they would like go ride snowmobiles in the winter at his place too. He's like, yeah, come use the trails, it's fine and stuff. And he crashed his snowmobile at his, I don't know, it was just weird circumstance.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. And then the other one was this kid in his senior year, my junior year, tried street surfing, which is where you're going about 60 miles an hour in the passenger seat of like a truck or something. You open the door and just try and skid on your shoes on the tar while like holding on to the door and stuff. And it's a real bad idea. And I think they were drunk, but the second his feet hit the pavement, he just went boom and went under the truck. Yeah, and said he was in a coma for a few days, but there was like, no, he got fucking run over by a truck. And he was cool. He was one of the people that I was probably the closest with, but they were all from the class ahead of me. That class had 6 people die before they graduated.
What? How big was the class?
Maybe like 200.
I see. That's the thing. Is my class was also very small, about that size. And I'll talk to like other people and they're like, yeah, quite a few people in my high school died, drugs, drinking, whatever. And I'm like, what? So like when these small towns, when shit happens, like shit happens. I don't know no one really, not a lot of like drinking stuff. It's always for some reason super creepy. Yeah.
Well, and like going back to talk about teachers and stuff, we did have a few cases of teachers fucking their students, and it was always the weirdest and like secret ones that were like, oh, it was going on for 3 years and fucking nobody. One was our Spanish teacher, and turns out we all knew he was gay, but he was fucking one of the boy students in my class. I was in the Spanish class with the kid he was fucking. He taught Spanish all the time, but the guy who was fucking the teacher was in my class. And
that is so strange to... I mean, it's very strange to obviously be involved in that, but to also be the actual teacher of that student. I
mean, how else are you going to meet them?
Well, I would feel like it would be like, oh, I had them last year and now we're into each other. But it's got to be weird to be trying to teach him Spanish while you're fucking like that.
Usted. Yeah. Dick out of his mouth.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, it did explain why that kid was so good in class. He was getting fucking extra lessons.
Yes. I wonder if they fucked in Spanish.
I hope so.
What does that even mean?
In Maine, just, muy cambi. I don't know that that's a word. The best case of that was we had two teachers that were hooking up secretly in high school, and
see, that's kind of cute, right? Like
one was 60 and one was 25.
Ooh,
And,
wow!
Yeah, and not the way you hope it is. The guy was 60. If it was the other way, the woman was 60 and the dude was 25, I would be like, we are okay with that.
Yeah, rock on.
But the guy was about 60 and the woman was 25, and then they got caught somehow right before the end of the year, and they got outed, and they said, we're gonna finish the year and then we're both gonna move away together. We're gonna leave so we don't have this shame on the high school. We'll leave you guys, but we're gonna be together still. We're not like just because we got caught, we're not it's not over or anything. And then a week before graduation, she took off with one of the seniors. Left him there, left the 60-year-old dude there, just with everybody knowing what happened.
I'm sorry. She left with one of the 18-year-olds?
Yeah.
This woman is unhinged. I mean, she should never be allowed in a school. Technically, she really...
They're still together to this day, though.
What?
Yeah, have kids and everything.
This is some small town ass shit.
No, right? Isn't that what's good? It's not random like cities. Like if shit goes down, it goes deep, and its roots and threads go into the community. And then he was that was maybe 5 years before I graduated. That happened, and then he was such a cool teacher. We had him be our graduation speaker, and he fucking lit that place on fire. And he talked about how shitty the modern education system is. How we're expecting these kids to go to war next year, but they have to ask for a hall pass to go to the bathroom this year. And
hell yeah.
It was the paper the next day was class elects controversial graduation speaker, half of it, and then half of graduating class gets busted at party after graduation because there was a huge party that got busted. Went crazy. And that was like the headlines of the local paper the day after we graduated.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, we had a really good 2000. That was class of 2003. They left a mark on a blight on that town.
Yeah. Wow. But you gotta, right?
Yeah. It seems like it would be boring otherwise. We probably could have used without the deaths, but other than that.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, if we could do without all of that, that'd be great. What was I gonna say? I knew a girl who got at a carnival, got her scalp ripped off on a ride.
So that seems like such a urban myth that you hear. Like, I'm sure it happens, but you knew one. I also think it just fucking carnivals are sketchy, and that happens a lot, and that's why everybody's heard that story.
Yep. No, she was wearing one of those hairnet things that like girls used to put over their buns that had like sparkles and stuff, and it on the machine when it pulled down, and just done. Yeah. Yep. It was gnarly.
What happens then? Is she just a bald person now? Is that a wig? What happens?
I don't know if she even got a wig. I remember her wearing like ridiculous hairstyles and all of us being like, yeah, we can still.
So hair grew back though.
No. On like the sides. It was so bad. But honestly, you're right. I mean, carnivals are they're too skeevy. They're just not, I don't even know what the application process is, if there is one, or you just say, I'm joining.
Blood in, blood out. They are definitely a line. Like you probably had them, Smokey's Greater Shows. They always did like the little town fairs and shit all throughout New England.
I don't think we did. I don't think we had that. We had, I don't think that was the name of ours. It was Fireman's Carnival something.
Oh, that was the company that put together the fucking rides and shit. And like the carnies that would come into town for a week, set it all up, you'd have fun, and then they're fucking gone. And if they commit crimes, you don't know where they are. They're gone forever.
Are carnivals like the modern circus? Is that what it was supposed to be after? And then, or was...
I think at a certain time they were the same thing. Both like the rides and the show would go together. Like the circus that where you go and see the show would be part of the bigger carnival, and they would have all the rides too. And it seems like and this is no research whatsoever, but it seems like at a certain point that split apart, and now there's a traveling circus that goes around and puts on a show, and and even goes up to the level of like Cirque du Soleil does that, where they have their people in Vegas and in Montreal, I think, is another place they have a permanent show. But then they also have traveling ones that go for a month at a time to different cities all over. And I think go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think circuses are terrifying.
Anything but Cirque du Soleil, if you're involving animals or any of that other shit, it's fucking weird, and I don't care for it. But carnivals, like they set up the little roller coaster and shit in your town, like that has become, I would love to know the history of this. At what point that became like operated by gypsies, pretty much is what it seems like. It's like all these kind of like on the edge characters that just are in each town for a week at a time. And then in wintertime, who knows? Do they go south with their fucking rides and shit?
I really don't know. And I wonder this is dark, but I wonder what the life expectancy of a carnival employee is.
It's either super low or they can't die. It's one of those. Because I remember they came into our town. We had one. So when I say like my high school had 200, it's because 8 towns went to one high school. But our towns, the towns themselves, we only had 1,500 people in our town growing up. And we had a little carnival that was called Harrison Old Home Days that would happen every year. And it was for like 4 days, but they would be there for a week setting up the rides and then taking them down. And they would like bathe in the lake and shit. And just be carnies would just be around town. And they were like people that you're like, they might rob us too. And like, probably would steal shit and stuff. But I just, to know what that is. But what I forget who I heard say this about the rides and how sketchy the rides are and shit is, you go to like Disneyland and those rides are scary. Would you ride Splash Mountain if you knew the guy that was putting you on the ride also built it? Because that's what it is with the carnivals that travel around. Like the guy who's operating it also like had a wrench earlier that day and was putting that fucking thing together.
I mean, just so much can go wrong.
and every time, and he's taking it up and down, taking it apart, putting it back together every fucking week, opposed to put it together once and just sits there.
I mean, I consider myself somebody with a decent brain, and I totally fucked up the IKEA dresser. And that was like, I was stone cold sober trying to figure it out. There's tape on the top of it. It looks like shit. It's not good.
Yeah, that was a Ferris wheel. Oof.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, people would be dropping. That's for sure. I can't even imagine. Here's what's crazy about tragic things is when I get uncomfortable, I start laughing. So if I at first saw a Ferris wheel chair fall to the ground, I don't know what emotion would come out.
Yeah, you just burst out. I don't think I've seen like car accidents and stuff live, but I've never seen something like that. But that actually is a good segue into the show's called To Live and Bike in LA. Sometimes we don't even get to talking about biking, but biking accidents, have you seen or been involved?
Okay, so I feel comfortable telling you this and saying this.
Oh, great.
I cannot stand bikers.
Okay.
On the road.
Yeah.
On a mountain, on a whatever, that's fine. Okay. And I had a very big argument with a boyfriend that I dated one time because he claimed that my opinion of that was very elitist and wrong because most people who are on bikes can't afford anything but the bike, which I disagree with.
No, not true. And especially the ones who find it that they need to be in the way.
Yes.
Those are people who have very nice cars.
Yes.
I would suggest most of the time. The bicyclists who can only afford a bike, guess what? You don't see them. They're fucking ghosts. They fly through through traffic. They are never in your way. They're on time to work. They're usually Mexicans in boots. But I've had people, like, I bike because for the first 2 years living here, it was all I had to get around. I would take the bike to the metro and shit like that. But I would have so many fucking like Mexican dudes, or I mean, whatever, they might be South American, but just pass me with full work, like Carhartts and boots on their daughter's bike, fucking going to work on time, never getting in anybody's way. They will go up on the sidewalk to avoid buses and shit. And like, they're just like, I'm not here to make a statement that I'm out biking. The people that you're mad at are the people who are like, it is my right.
Yes, correct. Because
and as a biker, I agree with you. I completely agree with that opinion.
Yeah, you know, and exactly what you were saying. Like, I can see if somebody it's like, okay, they know what they're doing. I'm talking about the people that moved to LA. It's their first week here, and they're like, I got my new bike. I'm gonna put on my outfit that I have. They always have an outfit.
Love the outfits. Love them because they're if I just bike hard enough, Lance is gonna call. Yep.
Somebody will give me an opportunity. They can see how good of a biker role I could play. I am a perfect biker.
We just moved to the west side. We're in Santa Monica now, and there is a new frustrating thing. And luckily, it's not busy because there's barely, anybody out and shit. But the beach biker who just fucking wanders down the middle of the road with the big handlebars, and they're like, "Hey, man, it's the beach life. Whatever, buddy."
The big handlebars with, like those certain bikes. A lot of women have them. They're like a retro bike.
Yeah.
And they have the wide handles. That's a dead giveaway to me that you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because it's like you bought the bike for the aesthetic purpose of it.
Yeah.
Not the whatever. Because I biked a lot when I was younger. And I've had some gnarly accidents. One time I fell. Here's my mistake. And this drives me nuts when I see women wearing dresses on a bike. I'm like, I'm telling you, you're going to get fucked. One day it's going to happen to you and you're never going to do it again. I was wearing a dress on my bike and it somehow caught on something. I fell, but like kept skidding on the pavement.
Yep.
And like from like my ankle to the top of my thigh was like, it was like I went through a cheese grater. Like
the dress also just went right up, and so it ended up being skin on pavement.
Awful. Yeah, exactly.
Ugh. Yeah.
And I had to, because of that, I had to wear skirts or dresses for like 3 months.
What a weird penalty of I shouldn't have worn a dress.
Yes.
Now I have to wear a dress.
I have to. And it was, here's the painful part is I was like a tomboy growing up. I hated dresses to begin with. And the only reason I was in a dress was because it was Easter Sunday and I was trying to be a cute little bitch. And now here we are. And I still have a little bit of discoloration like on the skin, but I was only like 8 when that happened.
Yeah. You grew up in Anna Green Gables? You were biking to church on a Sunday, on Easter?
Yes, I was going to church. I had a flower basket.
Yes, and I was hoping Lori was going to be there.
Yeah. The church that I went to, it was honestly, now looking back on it, it was the most progressive thing I've really ever seen. This was back in like 1999, 2000. We had a female pastor named
Very New England.
Yes, named Nairi. Blew my mind. Yes. Go ahead.
Color?
Still up in the air.
Great. I love Nairi. You think she's still out there?
Some days she looked very white,
Mhm.
Other days she dressed very like Persian, and she hated kids.
Oh, that is very Persian.
Yes, which I want to know what the story there is where you hate kids and you become a female pastor. Is it because you don't want kids? What's the scoop?
Yeah, that is an interesting. I think maybe because it's kind of like going the opposite route of teacher. Like that we were talking about the barren teacher before. This is like maybe she was like, I don't want kids, and where can I get to where I get to say the worst things to them, like you're gonna die. Because I went to a Bible camp. That was my only experience with religion for the most part growing up, especially as a kid. I accidentally went to Bible camp, and it was like evangelical, like hardcore Christian Bible camp.
Oh,
and
boy.
the amount that they told me I was going to die the summer of my 12th year was an uncomfortable amount that I really did not want to think about me or my family dying every day of a week and a half in the summer.
Yeah. They love reminding you of that because they know that if they strike that fear chord, then you're going to be like, I have to be a good person because I could die tomorrow. And then I'm going to be judged on everything up until that point. And if you're constantly fearing that you're going to die, then you don't have time to fix what you did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the other, I don't know, it's just weird to put that on kids because I feel like it left alone, death is the furthest thing from a kid's mind in a good way. In like they are very present in being alive, and yes, they do worry about like school tomorrow and shit like that, but they're very much like able to be not in a fucking unknown future. And then you just sit them down for a week and you go, no, change how your mind works. You should fucking think about your death. It was terrifying. It really changed. It made it so I never like sought out or thought about God or religion after. Like it just all seems so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just a point of 12 years old is a good point. Like 3 years earlier, I might have bought in. But at 12, I was just skeptical enough and then just put through something that I hated so much that I'm like, this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I think that most people who don't really partake in all that had like one defining moment where they were like, I'm out. Fuck this. Like, I don't think there aren't, I feel like many people in the category of just kind of like, yeah, never really caught on. Like it's always somebody like something pisses you off and then you're like, I've lost interest completely.
I wonder how similar this is. My brother, though, my oldest brother is my half brother, and he grew up going to a Unitarian Universalist church with his dad when he would be with his dad. And he has a very open relationship to whether or not there's a God or anything, but still enjoys going to that specific church here and there because it's so much more of a nobody knows, we get together, spiritual. The guy gives talks about like morality and stuff like that, but in a very like common sense way. But I think it's like because it isn't like you either fucking buy in all the way or you're out.
Yeah.
It has let him get later in life without being like a firm one side or the other type thing.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think there are some churches that I've seen where it doesn't feel like a scam or that I'm being manipulated to think a certain way.
Yeah.
And then there are other churches where I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm not buying it. I went to back in January, me and Connor Hangsleben were doing.
He's been on the show, guest of the show.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So Connor and I were doing some shows up in Fresno in Central California, and he really wanted to go to church, and his background's a little different than mine. I am I'll go, I'll humor you, sure, you really want to go? Fine. Like, I'm not going to be a dick about it. So we get there, and I mean, my church growing up was the size of a small house on a hill.
Yeah.
From like the 1800s.
Yeah, that's the church we had in our town. I never went to it, but that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm expecting something along those lines. This was one of those mega churches with the LED lights and the whole thing. And I could not get past it. I couldn't pay attention to anything. First of all, he made a Me Too reference in his thing as like a joke.
I was going to say, not like a good Me Too reference.
That blew my mind. I was like, what? Like, and of course Connor's laughing really hard because he's like, these are my people.
Is he going in for like a nostalgic joke reason, or was he like, I need to fill up on God for a little bit, I'm a little empty?
I think he was there to really enjoy it and take it seriously, which, sure, I'm not gonna, but that being said, the second we got in the car, it was a very different opinion. He was like, this is what I liked. And I was like, did you not see the issue with the fact that they have, a full-on band at the start? They got they had, here's what it was kind of pathetic, was they had the LED light situation set up on the wall where it said love, but some of the lights were out, which really...
Where's God? Why didn't God fix that?
Hello? It was very... and the thing is that this woman, when we walked in, I'm not used to these people preying on new folks like how they do here. So this woman, when we walked in, she was like, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so. And I was like, oh, I'm Kelly. This is our first time here. And she clung to that. Every time I looked in her way, she was staring at me just like hoping I'm enjoying it. And I was like, something's wrong with her. And Connor was like, you shouldn't have told her your name. You shouldn't have whatever. And I was like, I'm just not used to churches being like that leechy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've other than that, I went for a Christmas service one time, and then the reason why I went to that Bible camp was my aunt and uncle are very religious, and they had paid for their kids to go. One couldn't go, and they asked my parents the joke I say is they promised them 2 souls, and then they called my parents, and they were like, you got that third one you don't give a fuck about? And and I literally didn't know it was a Bible camp until the night before. My parents just asked if I wanted to go to summer camp. And then the night before, I was told it was Bible camp.
What did you say? Were you like...
I had no idea what to expect. One, I was like, it's going to be religious. So that aunt and uncle, I've been to church once or twice. I would go... That uncle would take me, he taught me how to bow hunt, and he's a really fucking cool guy. He's an amazing woodworker and shit, but they're very, very religious. And they have brought us to their church a couple times. And this was my thought, was the difference between that and the mega church, like the church you're talking about. I bet ours look very similar, both being in New England. Like there's a style, that clapboard, white, old style fucking church. You saw how they were trying to create a God-like experience, and or at least through simplicity and humbleness be closer to God, or their idea of what God was. Mm-hmm. And then when you go to megachurch, you're like, it feels like we're further away from that idea. It feels like we've gone from the mom and pop store that feels like this is what capitalism and an economy is, to a Walmart where you go, I don't think this is sustainable.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it felt like. It felt like, have you seen the movie WALL-E?
Yeah.
It felt like the church that would have been on that ship.
Yeah.
And it was, so I have to ask you this. Having gone to religious camp, I haven't gone to either of these. Having gone to religious camp, would you pick that or going to a fat camp?
Oh, I would have a blast at fat camp because I'm a supreme athlete. So it would be, okay, I would be better than everybody. I would be number one.
Imagine you gained 100 pounds today.
Can't imagine.
all in your neck and chin.
Okay.
I don't know how that happened, but it did. It happened to you.
Like Nick Swartzen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It happens to you. You got it all right here. So not only do you have to go to fat camp, but you're humiliated because you have this huge thing going on. Yeah. What would you pick?
I mean, as a kid, I would probably go with the religion one because I would be against, like if I got to that point, I would probably be like, I don't want to go fucking work hard. As an adult, I would in the thinking long-term, go to the fat one because I know I'll feel better by the end of it, where the religion one, I don't know that I would feel better by the end of it.
Do you know, because you bike, obviously your legs, you work out a lot, but it's a lot of core strength, right?
Somewhat. I mean, depends on how aggressively you bike. Like I ride a mountain bike, I will go on trails and stuff too. Doing that is a lot more of a full body workout, but there's definitely, you can just kind of bike if you're just biking the streets and stuff where it's just mostly legs.
Do they have plus size bikes?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, they have. I mean, you mean like bigger bikes or bikes that are more like, you can get bikes that are more reinforced if it's like a heavier person who's worried.
Yeah, like if I'm like, if I were size 22.
Yeah. In
women's size, I don't think that I should probably be on a very tiny, skinny bike, right?
No, yeah. I mean, I don't. We're going to have a fat biker on to ask these questions. I would love to know. These are some great questions you're bringing up. But you can, I do know they make reinforced bikes and bikes that are like meant to be able to take more and shit. But I would wonder, if you're so big, like maybe biking, like, do you have to lose weight just to bike? That's a great question.
I don't know. See, this is the thing that I don't mean to come on here and be like, I want to talk about the fat shamers because I know that that's not a good look. But there are things that I do wonder with the whole movement that we are inhibiting certain people from being able to do over time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You mean by like being like, it's okay to be fat and don't shame people and stuff?
Well, there are a lot of things that I feel like are going to have to start to be adjusted, like shoe sizes. Like obviously we have wide shoe, but what about like an extra wide or you got bigger ankles? Okay, the hole at the top of the shoe is going to be a bit bigger for your big ankle.
I have noticed it in both ways. Some companies, just with clothing sizes, I have not changed size since pretty much my senior year of high school. I have been the same height and weight for the most part.
Yeah.
But at certain clothing places, my size has changed. And it has gone smaller and larger. And like, I think certain places like say an H&M, I think goes smaller. They're going twiggier and wafier with who they're trying to sell to people. There's a weird group of people who do nothing and end up really twiggy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think they're just as lazy as some of the really fat people.
Oh, absolutely.
But they just are like endomorphs and stuff. And then like other places like Carhartt, I own a lot of Carhartt, that has changed bigger, where like a 34 is bigger now. And so it's like, I wear a fucking 32 really well, but I didn't used to. But it's actually because they sell to bigger people. It's Carhartt, you know what I mean? And they don't want them to feel bad, so they're like, make a large be like a little larger, so the guy who's getting fatter still thinks he just wears a large.
Interesting.
Yeah, that, again, no research whatsoever. This is just flying off the seat of my pants, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think most women are pretty much like this, but clothes fit differently in every single store. There's nothing
absolutely
consistent. Like so I don't, half the time I don't even know where they get their numbers and sizes from, because I'm like, this genuinely doesn't make any sense. Like, how do we have no accurate system?
Yeah. Well, especially in women's, because it is just an arbitrary number. Like 6 is not inches, feet. It's just a size 6 of what? Of like, it's just a thing out there. But I think in men's, it is actually the inches. So like I wear a 32, 30, and I think that's actually 32 inches around, and then the inseam is 30 inches, Which also you're saying short legs. That is I'm 6 feet tall and I have a 30-inch inseam. That's odd. I have very long torso, short legs as well.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You're right. You freaking freak. No.
I've said to people, like, if you stare at me long enough, like my full body, it's like a Picasso, like an early Picasso, where you're like, just quick glance, you're like, that seems right. And then you look long enough and you're like, wait, his proportions are like a odd amount off. Like not enough that it's really weird, but enough so like my eye is not tricked by it. Like he has.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean and how you feel, because I look point blank. It's like, oh, that's a short bitch right there. There's nothing, whatever. And then if you stare long enough, you realize how long the top half of me is and how long the arms are, because I have scoliosis.
They seem like they go down even further.
Yeah, my body is totally incorrect. Also, this is the weird thing. Okay, so a lot of women have wrists. I don't really have a wrist.
Yeah.
Like my hand goes straight into my arm.
It's like you're turning into a dolphin.
Yeah, exactly, Handra. That's what I've been trying to tell people. But it looks really weird when I put a bracelet on, because it doesn't look like a bracelet's on the wrist. It just feels like I'm trying to separate.
Yeah.
It's not good. And I wear huge shoes. I have huge shoes. It's not good.
I've always felt like I have, they're not small where you go like he has tiny feet, but you go for somebody who's 6 feet tall. I know people that are shorter than me that they're like, oh, we're 13. And you're like, 5'8". How do you have a fucking 13?
Good Lord. What size shoe do you wear?
10.5. Wow. It's like, you're just like, that's not too small, but that is really at the edge of just acceptable for a 6 foot person.
Yeah. Cause my brother's 5'9" and he wears an 11.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what's up with that.
So I don't know what the hell your deal is.
30-inch inseam, 10.5 shoe.
I've always been floored by bitches that have like a size 5 shoe.
Which would be like a 7 in men's. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, and they're so tiny. They're like, because so I have a friend of mine who, she has a million shoes. Her parents own the like largest warehouse in El Paso. So she's like loaded, because everything that goes into El Paso.
She's got like $30,000.
She's $30,000 goes far in El Paso.
El Paso. Oh yeah.
But she has a bunch of shoes, and I don't know why, but one time I asked her, because I thought it didn't make sense, because she has huge tits, and I was convinced that somehow if you have huge tits, you also have to have huge feet
to like handle them.
I don't know what I thought, but for some reason I always thought that she was like very out of proportion, because I was like, it's really weird that she has such tiny feet and huge tits. Like something's wrong.
I do wonder about if they've ever identified the tit gene. I feel like, because it is just it feels like that is something that is either completely like that's the size for that body, or just way off, just completely.
I don't think there's any correlation. I really don't, because I know now what is crazy is when you see people who are naturally skinny, like we just talked about, who have huge tits. It's like, what?
Why? How? Just
where'd it come from? I don't understand. Like that one model that was in the Blurred Lines thing.
Raicha Kaikanik or whatever her name is.
Exactly. Yeah. She, no meat on her bones, but her tit, incredible.
It's like a cake pop. And you're like, how did that happen? But then also other way around too. You'll see like gigantic women, no tits, and you're like, they should have the big ones. Why don't they?
Yes.
So
I know somebody, and I could say this because she recently unfollowed me on Instagram, and I don't know why. Okay.
Nice.
So she's a plus size model. But they were like, you have no tits. And so now she has to wear like fake tits in the plus size thing because they were like, we can't have a plus size model who doesn't have tits.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just funny because they're like, you have enough fat, except in this one place
you got
where
plenty...
you can't get fatter. There's no way you can get fatter everywhere else if you needed to, but you can't.
We can't have you lacking in this department.
I would love to make a movie about a woman who, like, you know, some women are just very skinny. No matter what they eat, they're just like can't even gain weight. Yep. A woman like that who has always dreamt of being a plus size model, and she just can't.
She just can't
put
do
on
it.
The weight. No.
Yeah, you know, I know quite a few. But I have to wonder because I know quite a few women who are like, I just can't gain weight or whatever. And then I watch them eat and I'm like, your idea of a lot of food is not what my idea, you know what I'm saying? Like I can in one sitting probably eat a whole box of pasta and not even, that would be if nothing were to happen. But like, I know a lot of women who they'll have one serving of pasta and they're like, oh my God, I'm stuffed. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't even make any sense. I mean,
and also you're like that. Well, you know, that's not the meter. If you're trying to gain weight, just being stuffed doesn't mean you stop.
Oh,
like,
you gotta keep going.
Yeah. Did you know even when you're full, you can keep eating? Try it. It works.
Yes, yeah. That's how heroes are born. But if you're gonna quit, like, it's not for you. This plus size world.
For whatever reason, and I always hate when it happens, but pizza for me, I will eat until it's gone. And I will be sitting there feeling not well. And there's still a piece left and I go, I can fit it. I know I can. I can put that down.
Yeah. It's I think the biggest issue right now is because there's so many places that do the personal whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's not personal. It's like personal, and then also maybe you should have a piece tomorrow. Like that's how much pizza comes in that. But you're like, I'm not going to take home just a slice.
I'm not going to. Yeah. What? Am I crazy? Come on. And I don't know. I mean, what was it? I don't think I've ever eaten a whole like Domino's size, like a large. Have you eaten a whole large pizza before?
Probably, yeah. I know I've definitely had the better half of like a big one at like a fancy pizza place.
Oh yeah.
And then this was in Texas, in Austin. I remember specifically going to this really good pizza place, and it was like full size pizzas, and they were like you could get all these crazy toppings and shit on it, and having maybe 5 or 6 slices, and then having to go to a show and being like, I felt like falling asleep while I was on stage. I was just so like lethargic, and my wife got off and she's like, what is wrong with, like, you had no energy up there. And I was like, I can barely stand up right now, and it's not from drinking or anything. It's because I just feel like fucking drugged by pizza.
Yeah, I cannot eat a big meal before I go on stage.
I should have learned.
No, but we all make the mistake again. Like this will happen to us again. I'm certain of it. It just, you think, you're like, there's no way I can stop eating when I'm full, and then you don't.
What does it for me a lot of times too is if friends are coming to the show or family, I'll go back and do a show in Maine, and you know, my parents or something will be like, we're bringing a bunch of friends, let's all have dinner beforehand, we'll meet you at this restaurant, and then we'll go to the show. And you're like, yeah, totally, thinking of it as like 2 separate things, and then not realizing like, fuck, I'm eating a steak and I gotta go fucking get on stage 20 minutes. I've gotten to the point where I don't go to that. I go, we'll hang out afterwards. You guys go have dinner, and I'll see you guys at the show, and we'll hang out after.
Yeah. Well, even then, it's like just the task of having to do something before you have a show is annoying. Like
it really is. Like anything, if it's an important show or a big show or just a headlining show, I find if you're doing an hour, doing like I got to do a 10-minute spot. I can handle a day of work and then go to, but when you have to do an hour that night, anything after like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're like, I want to be getting into my headspace. I don't want to be dealing with that.
Yeah, exactly. That was, that's what's shitty sometimes about, like doing stuff out here. If you go to like the, Central Valley, cause I have work, and typically my work like dies down around like 2 because my company's on the East Coast.
Yeah.
But even with the LA traffic, it can take like 5 hours to get to where I'm going. And then the show is there, and it's like, okay, well, if I have someone with me, I can't really go over my shit in the car.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah, it's, the weird thing is I've been now laid off doing this. And so I'm just doing, it's actually been great. I'm on unemployment.
Oh.
I'm making more than I was.
Well, that's good.
It's ridiculous, but it has made me see what, like, other than actually having shows to do, going like how when comedy's paying all the bills and I don't have to have a day job, you still need to figure out a way to structure your day, do things during the day, make your, like, a lot of your career and stuff has got to be self-generated in that way. And it's so tempting, like, especially if you have a week, 5 shows in a weekend, to just fuck off during the day, all of those days. But there is like a balance you have to come to of, no, I'm going to, like, I have to structure my day. I have to be productive a little bit, but also, like, come 3, 4 o'clock, maybe that's just when I hit the pool or just start getting into fucking zone for comedy time, time.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened when I was in Tahoe, was I was like, what the fuck do I do with myself? And luckily, like, my sister came with me, so we just were like chilling and stuff. But if I were there by myself, like, and I didn't know the feature or the headliner or anything, like, I don't know what I would do.
That's how I was. I didn't hang out with feature, I was featuring. I didn't hang out with the host or the headliner at all during the day. They were cool guys, but we just didn't hang out. I went skiing one day. There I find, and places like that are places that also attract cool people outside of fucking whatever venue you're playing. Like, there are just cool people in Tahoe that are athletes and, just outdoorsy people, or especially go in the summer. You can, if you meet enough people, you'll end up like on a boat on the lake for the day and shit. Cause they're psyched to like show you their place and stuff.
Yeah.
But one night after a show, I went out to the bar next door and met the band. And then it turns out one of the guys was from Massachusetts in the band.
Oh, wow.
And he was a ski patrol at one of the mountains, so he got me a free ski ticket. Went out to breakfast with him and his girlfriend the next day, and they were cool people, and watched the band play. So, like, I try to do that when I'm on the road, even when I'm, like, alone, is either go do something like hike a fucking beautiful mountain in a place like that, or at least go meet local people. And they'll show you a good time. But places like, if you're in like fucking Des Moines and stuff, it can be slim pickings either way. Like, you might not necessarily want to meet those locals, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So this is the end part of the show, and show this video to everybody just to kind of get I have a feeling you're going to both love this and maybe have an odd reaction to it.
Okay.
It's a crash video of skiing.
Oh boy. A crash video of skiing?
Yeah, it's a pretty famous one in the ski world. I actually just had on, it came out today, a friend of mine who competed in the Olympics. And when I pulled this video up, he like immediately knows, like, within the skiing world, it's probably one of the most famous videos there is.
Oh boy. Oh no.
Oh jeez. Sorry about that.
Oh no, that's fine.
It's a little loud. Can you hear that?
Yep.
Okay.
The helicopter was just ready to come out and start filming. I just wanted to get one more in so I can, just be ready.
Ow! Broke! My ankles are broken! My ankles are broke!
His ankles are broken!
I got broken ankles!
He's coming for you!
Just didn't go fast enough. Sucks. But right when I took off, I knew something was kind of wrong. Right as about 7:20, I knew it was going to be rough. When I was in the air, I didn't really hear anything. Really dead dead silence, and then I hit the wall and heard a really loud explosion, you know, just right in my boots. Felt like someone packed dynamite in there, you know what I mean? Lit them and my feet blew up. It was crazy.
On both sides, he had fractures to the talus, which is...
Okay, that's it. That's it.
Both ankles. I can't even. Oh my God, the poor thing. He looks like a East Sider Mike, though.
So that's interesting because he's very strong. His name's Tanner Hall, and he actually is he's probably one of the greatest of all time as far as freestyle skiing and the career that he's had. He was like one of the highest number of medals in the X Games ever and stuff. But he's had this fucking famous crash that was terrible, and that was a really famous jump that a lot of people have filmed at before. Yeah. And then he did that, and nobody hit that jump for like 10 years. It was just like that part is done. But the combo of the gnarliness of the crash and then the broken ankles and then the second guy going, his ankles are broken. It just makes it one of those videos that go, it's gnarly, funny, like it's everything in a crash video.
Wow. What a perfect, I can't believe I have that is a perfect one. That sounds bad, you know, if I were to meet the guy and be like, love the video.
I know. That's what I wonder about is if I would show that to everybody that is on this podcast. Like, that's how I end the podcast, is by showing everybody that video and getting their reaction.
Yeah.
And I wonder if someday it'll make it back to him and what he would think about it. Because I don't, I actually beat him one year at the U.S. Open. It was a terrible. Really? There was a blizzard, and he crashed, and I got 20th in the U.S. Open that year. And he's far better than me. It was because of the blizzard, and I just like stuck my run. I did like really well.
That's great though.
But I don't really know him at all. I've never met him before, but he's never really seemed like a real like can take a joke type of guy. And so I would be curious to know how he felt about the fact that I showed that video to fucking everybody.
You know what? It can't be nearly as bad as snapping both
your ankles. Yeah, maybe he's got a little humility about himself for fucking breaking both his ankles. Actually, there's one more because, so is your feeling, do you watch videos like those, like on Instagram and shit? Do you like seeing people get hurt or people fall?
I wouldn't say I like it. I wouldn't say I don't like. I watch a lot of food videos. That's my main.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of food cooking videos and dogs. That's all.
I do a lot of that, and I don't know, it's a weird type of video. There's videos on Instagram specifically. Have you seen these of like it's like pleasure? This is gonna sound weird. Pleasure cutting, but it's not like cutting yourself. It's like it will be like Play-Doh. Soap or Play-Doh or something, and it just like cuts through it perfectly. So that's got to be like that MSRI or whatever that shit is.
Oh, the ASMR?
Yeah, that's got to be what that is, but like visually for people. I definitely get it, but I think some people have got to really get off on those fucking videos.
Yeah.
All right, pulling up one more. I'll show you, and then we'll let you go here. Are you all right for time and everything?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, what was it? Do you know Dana Donnelly?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Her younger sister used to do like crazy ASMR videos where like there are videos of her like eating lobster shells and like things that you shouldn't be eating.
But just for like the low, like
yeah. It's really crazy. It's gross.
Let me double check this is the right video. Oh yeah. I'm gonna share the screen. See, I just figured out for all the other videos or podcasts I've done, I didn't know how to share the sound so that you would hear the sound too. And that video, it's all about hearing my ankles are broken. And so it was like, I always fucked up having people hear it. Like it got through, but it was like never right. And now I just figured out how you share the sound. I'm like, I wish the 9 other ones had done. I'd figured that out.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think I know how to do that either. Okay.
There's a little button you click at the bottom.
And if he hits that, he's got his backup plan covered. is 720. Oh, he's gone!
Just, I mean, flat down.
Now wait for the replay.
Wow, I can't believe it.
Because
Trying to adjust his body.
Trying to adjust his feet and is trying to get his board back, and there it goes.
He's 15 feet up, and he just fell.
shoes.
Oh, man.
They flew off. What?
And he says, I'm all right. And takes it. His shoes. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's the...
Both shoes
That is so funny.
shoot off like a rocket. It's the type of thing in those, like, especially those sports, that type of moment where you go, that just made what is incredible. I mean, the guy ended up walking away and he ended up being okay in the long run, but it's probably pretty fucked up. But it's like adding a clown horn into a car crash where it just...
Yeah, it really takes away from the brutality of the whole situation. It's so silly.
All right, you've been an excellent guest. Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was fun.
And what's your social media and everything so people can follow you? And do you have anything? I mean, nobody has anything anymore, but that you actually want to put out there and promote?
You can just follow whatever at This Is Kelly Ryan. That's my Twitter and Instagram, and just making a lot of sketches with my sister, pretty much.
Oh, nice.
So that's what's up at the moment. But other than that, just chilling.
Awesome. All right,
Yeah.
Kelly, thanks so much for doing it, and it's good to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man.
See you later.
Okay, bye.